maybe if somebody has a theme, it could inspire you guys as well. So I was, long story short, I was watching this video on YouTube, and I think Wheeler watched it actually because I posted a bit of it on Instagram, of this person talking about the difference between a spiritual person and a mystic. And like when you're in a spiritual like community, or you're in a spiritual journey, you kind of want to manifest your life, and you go and explore different techniques, different modalities, and you want to improve your life, improve your well-being, get a better job, get a better girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, And that's kind of a lot of the spiritual ideas becomes about manifestation, manifesting life and feeling great. But when I when I watched this video, it sort of triggered something within me that I was like, I now understand. So the guy was mentioning, he's a Sufi mystic. So I'll explain what Sufism is later. But he was mentioning that there's a difference between a spiritual person and a mystic, because a spiritual person wants things from life, right? You go through life and you think, okay, what are my goals and how do you achieve that, right? But with a mystic, the mystic's prayer, the mystic's affirmation is very simple, right? The mystic's affirmation can take the form of something that is devotional towards God or the presence of the divine within yourself, depending on your belief system, whether you believe in God or the divine light within your heart, whatever word you give it. For a mystic, it's not about what I want, you know. For a spiritual person, it's about what I want. For a mystic, it's not about what I want. It's about loving God and longing to be with God and loving life and longing to love life. It's not, there's no agenda there. There's nothing about you that you want. You just want to give this love to life. You want to give this love to God. You have no other motivation. It's like one of the Sufi mystics' prayer was so beautiful. His prayer was like, God, don't give me love. Just give me the longing to love, right? So not even love, just the longing for love. And it's like you can sort of think maybe this is kind of denying like our physical needs, but it's not like that, because once you go into the consciousness of like loving God and loving life and needing nothing, and you're empty, actually you get everything you want. So it is the weird sort of interaction with life. When you love life, you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking, what do I need to do? What do I need to achieve? Like say to yourself, how can I increase this longing for God, increase this longing for love, for life? How can I do that? And it becomes a very heart feeling and a heart experience of going through the heart. So the Sufis primary, and the Sufis are a group of mystics that work primarily with love and devotion, and pretty much that's their speciality, right? So they're not about knowledge, they're not about all of that, they're just about like love and devotion. And they have this idea of the heart of hearts, that within your heart there's like another heart, and it goes deeper and deeper. So, and the more you sort of live this attitude and have this consciousness that you don't want anything from life, right? You're just here to love God within your heart. You're here to love life, love all of creation. You don't want anything. Then it's like this divine light within yourself. You sort of merge with it, right? So the Sufis create more pain. So they have this joke that the only accessory for a Sufi mystic that they have is a bunch of tissues, because they just cry themselves to tears when they're in devotional ecstasy with this longing of God. So they feel this pain, and the pain comes from separation from God. And there's this beautiful poetry in Sufism where there's the reed. I don't know if you guys know what a reed is. Reed is like a plant where they cut up the plant and then they make the flute out of it. And if you've ever heard of the Sufi flute, it sounds like an instrument which is expressing separation, expressing lament, expressing suffering and pain. So the Sufis have this beautiful poetry that when the reed is cut off from its source and then it's received by a human being, then it sings the song of lament, of separation, and the desire to be one with the source again, right? So you cut off the reed, the plant, it becomes the flute, and now when you put the fire of your breath into the flute, it cries the song of lament and separation, right? And that's like the Sufis use it as a metaphor for our hearts, that our hearts have this longing to be with God. Our hearts don't actually have a longing for material achievements or for any achievement for that matter. Our heart's primary desire is to return to the source. So the Sufis understand this, and they sort of, just like the sound of the flute, the pain that it sort of, the longing, the the lament that it cries. Imagine the sound of the flute within your own heart, right? This beautiful mystic, Christian mystic actually, who says God is a sigh in the heart. So God is a sigh in the heart. It's like this pain, right? And what he meant by that is that if you go through the pain, what the Sufis do as well, if you go through this pain and through this lament, right? And you go through this longing and you actually ask for more longing, you ask for more to be with God more, you know? Obviously tears come up and you cry, but it's not the sadness, you know, it's more like the devotion that you express in love to God. Like, God, I don't need anything in life, I just want you, you know, this is the only thing I want from life. And whatever prayer, gratitude that it is your style, you incorporate, right? And you direct it by leaving your attention in the heart center. So your attention is within the heart, and whatever method works for you, it doesn't really matter. It's all intuitive. You just sort of go hard, you know, to the beloved. So the Sufis refer to God not as God, as the beloved, you know. So you sort of make this love poetry, or this you know, sort of expression to God of like love and longing for it. And so I've been doing that for the past few weeks, and I just had tremendous results. And I was like, wow, like the sense of lack that I was feeling, even like a tiny bit of it, just completely eliminated. So that is the secret of longing for God and not wanting anything. And then when you do that with such a pure mindset, such a pure attitude, right? Then God gives you triple and more and tenfold, and He fills you up with His love, you know. So that was my message. I hope it inspired you. But now is the time for a little conversation, or any questions. But yeah, I am finished now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Beautiful, beautiful. I love that sort of connection to the feel state of the center of the heart, and anyone that does healing, I think in some context, in any context where that you've deeply felt um, love in such a way where that you cry with a sense of happiness. I think I imagine many of us on this call who can relate to that feeling of connecting to such a deep degree, where that um, I think I've had some. I tend to call them like oneness moments. I suppose is what I've labeled them as, where that I just deeply emotionally. It's not even emotionally. It's on a soul level, on a full body level. Comprehend that we are just surrounded and infused and wrapped in so much loving energy that you just you just feel like that you are. And it's interesting, the crying part, because I have a slight different, my own interpretation of the crying part is that I feel that the second that we connect to love, that frequency of love tends to naturally cleanse out the any feelings of separation within the body, and you're also cleansing that from the energy of humanity as you do it. Like you're going through that process, and you can also focus on the energy. And Sarah will is literally going through the process right now of it. Plus, you know, and we had a brief conversation of like a lot of emotion going through. Do you join? Do you not? You don't want to take over the energy of the call, but this process of focusing on healing the energy of the land, and we're all one with the land. We're all part of the land. All of the feelings of the ancestors within that land and everything, and then being able to feel divine love and connection, and then being able to pull through the separation from the land, from others, and through us, and crying it out and getting rid of it is such a beautiful process. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on the situation. I think it's a beautiful practice of being heartfelt.
Yeah, two things you said. One is there's so much love, right? And like the love is not limited. Like you can further charge and charge and charge this love, and you can sort of, what the Sufis do, they get intoxicated on love. You know, it's like they say that if you become a Sufi. Like don't be a Sufi, because if you taste the wine, if you taste this this wine, you will go mad, right? It's on that level of like insanity and madness. So that's how much love there is. And I think oftentimes we don't want more. We're satisfied with a certain level. But I think the message is don't be satisfied with that level. Keep asking for more, keep feeling more. And yeah.
I love that. I'm kind of interested in the sometimes the terminology of the have in the here and now state versus asking for more
Mm,
is the only thing that there's a part of me that sort of I work within the vibration of it is here, it is in the
mm,
present moment. So the asking for more in the question denotes not having in the now. So
mm.
the only thing that I would, the only point my brain goes to is
Yeah.
that terminology of asking for more, but it's more like reaching for more oneness, ever reaching for more oneness. You have it already in with you, but you're sinking deep. It's like you got the comfort of like a blanket and you're sinking deeper into that comfort ever more and ever more and ever more.
Mm,
So it's
mm.
not that you're lacking it, you're just digging deeper into a deeper feel state of what is the way that
Yeah.
I would interpret that.
Yes. I think they ask for more longing rather than anything because they want to sort of feel more desire for God, right? Because if God gives you the love, right, then there's no desire for Him anymore, you know. But the longing needs to be there, and it's like how you long for your beloved, like if in a physical, like the person you're with, you know, you long for them, and the more longing there is, the more you sort of want to love them. It's like a weird understanding of it. But as you said, Adam, like at some, so the Sufis also say like at some level of development after so much crying and so much devotion then you don't no longer feel that. And after they say 5 or 6 years, then this is more of a oneness experience, more like a quiet love, a quiet joy. But they say 5 to 6 years is just about going more towards the longing and crying and that's sort of the devotional aspect. And then they sort of arrive at that point where they're one with the beloved, you know, like they've achieved oneness in that sense. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you ever get those ecstatic moments where you just giggle for no apparent reason on the joy of life, which you've seen me do that, Ali, haven't you, a couple of times? Where I fall into absolute to me that are ecstatic giggle fits about the love of life and energy, and I can't snap out of them. I'm just literally I can't,
Mm-hmm.
I can't, and I just need to think about it, and I almost go there. So no, I'm doing it again. I got take the mic. This is, the interesting thing is what stop when you think of a laugh, right? It's in the chest. It feels like a kind of that's going in the chest when you laugh. When you can't stop yourself
Mm.
laughing, it's a vibration and a pulsing in the chest that just seems like it keeps going. And I'm really I'm really having to control. Someone take over.
I was just gonna say, can you hear me? I'll let you get yourself together, Adam. I think for
Yeah.
me that what I take from what Ali said, which is beautiful, is that longing like for like that connection with God. For me, that was finding myself like and my own love and not looking for it from outside and from somewhere else. I've done so much work on that over the last yeah, that like I feel like my cup is full, which is great, but in doing that, you allow these layers to pull away, which mean then that you're susceptible to be able to pull through and do more work. So I haven't spoken to you for ages, Ali, but I did some past life work out in Fiji, connecting with a past life, which was massive in January. So I came back with like the grief of leaving a life which was probably my best life, although it was one that was cut very short. So I've been like hopping dimensions and timelines, but as a result of doing the work I had to do, it's opened me up to more of the shamanic healing, and it's more on a deeper level now. So I think that I'm being pulled to pull through more things. So If we don't pull through, our ancestors need to shout and they need us to feel their grief so it can be released. I feel to me that's how I
Mm,
feel
mm, mm,
like we move forward into that higher vibration. So yeah, we have to do it for ourselves, but we're doing it for everybody else as well. So it's sort of like I think
mm,
this planet alignment just feels like that's something that's about like us all pulling each other together. But you're beautiful giggling with one another. I've got a friend Alice, and I just think that she's a psychopomp, so she helps the Dead Cross. That's her like her professional job now. She believes in herself. And when we get together, like we got together for a couple of hours a couple of weeks ago, and we were both really flat, and we were drove to a garden centre, and we were like children that had eaten sugar all day. We were just like literally like giggling, and she's like, I feel like I'm four. And I was like, I feel like I'm four as well. And like our energies were really like that. So I think it's really important to find like those people that do that because it's
mm,
like a huge top up then, isn't it? So
mm,
yeah, I've been feeling a little bit at the moment it's having that energy that like replenishes your energy because people that are coming to me for healing have got much deeper stuff that they need to move and release, and they're finding me. I'm not looking for them. But also when you're like clearing ancestral stuff as well, it's all really, really heavy, isn't it? So that
Mm.
connection that you
mm,
talked about is like absolutely massive. And just because I was umming and ahhing about coming on the call, just because I've really had a not a good day being in this anger state, but I know it's not my anger. But Alice messaged me and said, "How's your week going?" And I voice noted her, and just before I jumped on the call, she said, "Oh my God, so I feel exactly the same.
Mm.
I've got so much
mm,
ancestral rage." And I was just like, "Okay, we need to get together tomorrow with our drums." I was up the arches with my drums at 2 o'clock this morning. It didn't work. We obviously need our energies together, so that like
mm,
shouts out for the stuff that we're doing now, isn't it? Like as a collective. Yeah, like massively. That's like another nod to the fact that like, all
mm,
this deep work, we don't have to do it by ourselves. Like
mm,
share it, isn't it? Like all come together and like make the noises and make the shouts and send the energy, like wherever it needs to go, for that one soul purpose, isn't it?
Mhm.
Fascinating you mentioned the anger because last night for no reason after exercise I was angry for exactly no reason.
Where yeah.
And, I was like, why? Like, why is this coming from? And even today a little bit as well. And I went to the gym and I sort of channeled it to exercise, but yeah, for no reason. So it's just interesting you mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely collective then, isn't it? I felt so much better when Alice had said about it. I was like, okay, it's not just me. It's not just the Sarah show. Like it's a collective, like we can share it then.
Definitely. I think there's also, I think I was talking to Ali as well about this the other day. So many people I've noticed are just feeling this mass fatigue that's so out of ordinary. And I'm doing all the things I usually do that usually keep my energy up. If anything, I'm doing more of it. And then it's still like this, like, whoa. And it's like sometimes I'm just literally, I think the other day I was just like in an event, watching something that could have been quite entertaining, but I just almost, I think I snored 3 times. I was just like, what the heck? I was just like, well, I'm trying to be focused, but my energy just went down, and I
Mm,
couldn't do
mm,
anything about it. And it's like I just need to zone out and zonk out, and it's like I'm feeling through. I think anyone that works within a certain oscillation of frequency is aiding in raising of the Earth's frequency at this point in time. And we're all gonna, it's almost like that life's going, okay, that person's got that color, right? We're gonna send that energy over to them so that they can neutralize that color, because that's the thing that they do. And
mm,
I'm obviously right now flowing with neutralizing the fatigue and the loss and the down energy that's
mm,
kind of that humanity's holding. And
mm,
it's an interesting thing that Monk mentioned to me, and he says he builds this analogy that essentially within the mind we have the separation of time and space that only exists within the third plane, whereas in fact all lives on all dimensions are all operating simultaneously right now at this here and moment in time. There is no real separation other than that which we build in a frequency set. So the reason why past lives, if you might call them as past lives, affect us in the now is because they are operating and existing right now in this here and now. We just
mm,
perceive them to be not existing here and now. So therefore, when we shift something in that life, it's affecting our frequency in all frequencies in all lifetimes. So it's that when we get our head around the context that it's not in the past, it's perceived that way. It's just in a different frequency. Kind of like an
Fascinating.
interesting
And
point.
you were talking about processing collective tiredness, and another word you use, another emotion. I think I've been processing collective sadness. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like it's not even sadness, as I said, through the longing. It's like a combination of feeling joy, longing, pain, and sadness all at the same time. It's a very strange experience.
Yeah. And it's really interesting for those that are also, I'm sort of conscious for those that are also one foot in the spiritual journey, one foot in the kind of like in the self-development section as well. That I don't think all of us are doing that, but depending on where we all are on the scale, that there becomes that moment I personally find where we learn the distinction between how am I co-creating my own self-demise by the mind that is saying shit to myself that's negative, which that's a different entire thing. That's like self-punishment through a mind that's taking control. And then when am I just and it's a big difference between what feelings have got created from my thoughts, and we can tell that has a thought created a feeling, or did a feeling flow over me that came from no thought whatsoever? And that's the difference. Being able when suddenly we've got no kind of causation, we're just in a relatively we're doing everything right, and suddenly whoa, that's when it's like an energetic thing, and it's not cultivated for a poor mindset. If you see what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else want to jump in and say anything or talk about what I said about, or just add to what Adam was saying? Come on, don't be shy. Willow?
Like, don't go to me.
Why you call my name?
because you're at the top of my screen, and
dang it, how do I get to the bottom?
and you look kind of cute, so I had to say it, you know.
Oh man.
He's just like listening in such a like grace, so I had to point you out, you know.
Right, okay, fine. You called my name, I gotta do it, I guess. God, what can I add? Well, the fatigue thing actually is quite strong because usually I'm very much your get up and go, you know, kind of scroll on Prozac kind of person. But now it's like I've been feeling very, very fatigued, quite tired for no reason. And it's like, why am I feeling so tired? Why do I feel like I don't know, I just feel like I can't it's not like I can't do anything, but it's just like I just feel so exhausted. And I have to kind of like fight myself to get up and do things. And as much as I kind of it shifts a little bit, but then it's still there. It's just kind of resonating, just there all the time. Like even like now, it's like, why do I feel like this? Like I could literally go and climb Mount Everest if I choose to, but I probably would do when I closed. But it makes no sense. But when I also saw that video as well on your page, Ali, like it really did spark an interest because I was like, okay, interesting. And it made me think, well, what side of that am I on? Am I, mystic or am I spiritual? Because there is parts of me that is kind of like, well, I don't really want anything. I just want to be available and just be used for whatever needs to be done and be filled with the love and the kindness of the higher being just to fulfill whatever purpose I need to fill. But then I also have things that I need. So it's like, well, am I a little bit of both or am I on one side or, do I have days where I fluctuate? Am I just a pendulum? I don't know. But it did spark that thought and it did make me think, well, which which am I? Because I'm still like understanding everything spiritually, and I would like to confidently say, I am a light person, I am a light worker, but I think I still have a lot of knowledge that I need to gain, and
Mm,
there's things
mm,
that I still need to understand. But
mm,
obviously, as time progresses, and as Adam continues to mentor me, I think I'll definitely understand and get there. But yeah, no, that video was actually quite inspiring. And if you haven't seen it yet, I would actually recommend just popping onto Ali's page and having a look at it, because it was really good, really good. But yeah, I
No,
think that
I know. Yeah. Something beautiful you said, Willow. Before I forget it, you said I want to be used. Some days I feel like that.
yeah, because I just feel like as much as we are here and we're existing amongst each other, and there are things we need, but there is a part of me that feels like there is just something just way beyond us, and we
Mm,
might have our physical tools to do things, but our spiritual tools are so much greater and are so much far beyond us. And
mm,
if we kind of surrender to the higher power, it's
mm,
I feel like it will equip us with something more than what we understand, and therefore we can do more to kind of save people and humanity, and to
mm,
heal and to love and to bring more light to this world in other ways. And there have been parts of me that has been fighting against that, because I have been told, like, for the last how long, my kindness is not nice, and my kindness will get myself killed, and all those kind of negative things. And it's made me feel like, well, is me being kind a good thing? Is me being nice a good thing? And I've thought to myself, well, actually, no, I didn't think to myself. It's like a conversation was had in my head, and it's like, well, I've been like this since I was born, and I'm there to serve people. I'm there to love people and be
mm,
kind and to take care of them and to ensure that this home that we're all sharing, we're all happy and safe and loved within it. Because if anybody's living in my physical home, I'd want the same thing. So I'm
mm,
not doing a bad thing. I'm just extending who I am to everybody.
mm,
And so by surrendering to love and to the higher power, the fulfillment is greater than what we can even make for our own selves, because
mm.
it's a gift that will be given to us as beyond. But I don't know, that's just all my
Yeah.
thoughts and things I've thought to myself. But that video kind of really, really sparked that whole
Yes.
thought process, and
Mm,
made me think about, well, what do I want more in this life? But as much as I might have my dreams and aspirations and stuff I want to do, but
mm, mm.
there is something way beyond that, and
Yeah.
it's greater than the things I want, because what I want isn't necessarily what my spirit and my soul needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm I'm all for that, really. So
Mhm.
A beautiful, really beautiful prayer that the guy mentioned that I really resonated with. That's like a mystic prayer. Is that like, God, I don't want anything. I just want to be used by you. You
exactly.
know, and like that's just so beautiful because it highlights that our life is not about us. Our life is about the oneness, right?
Yeah,
Like, and when we align ourselves with that oneness, that will of the oneness, then we're actually fulfilled on a much deeper level than what our spiritual goals can give us, our personal goals can give us. So
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
absolutely.
Anybody else want to jump in?
Please do, you can shut me up.
No?
I just had a massive thought, sorry, about just what you were saying, Willow, about like about whether like you're spiritual or mystical.
Yeah.
Like I truly believe that when we come to ourselves, like what we feel and what we really enjoy, like is our gift. So maybe that's where like you're not sure, because like your music is your gift. That's like how you spread love and how you change the vibrations. So like you thinking maybe, okay, well, I really need to do this might make you think, oh, is that something I just want for me? But actually that could be your calling. So you just surrendering, like you said on the call before about how you're just trusting and you've trusted and you've handed it over.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
these things are happening, but it's not happening like from an ego point of view. It's just happening because that's your gift, because we all have a different way to deliver that high vibrational energy. So maybe that's just what I felt. So I'm gonna shut up now.
maybe. I didn't make that connection actually, but yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is I firmly believe that when we are full up of love, then it's like the love is like the sun. It wants to shine, right? It wants to give something that if you've reached something that you've got so much energy of love about that you just want to give it,
Yeah.
then you're in that state of being in love with the being of love, right? So um
Yeah.
I I I have a mantra that I quite regularly repeat, which is my own version. It's but I constantly receive that which allows me to embody love to its greatest potential.
Yeah.
And or I constantly receive that which allows me to serve to my greatest potential. Like I tend to oscillate between the two. But the act of, and it's an interesting thing, is like they being used by God is an interesting concept because I had the reflection there of whenever we feel a feeling, really what's happening is that it's flowing through us, right? So our body, our vessel is being used by the flow that goes through, right? So when you look at all feelings that flow, it is that. It's something that's just going. And I think what tends to happen is the mind or the ego, which is where I think, so it's the little kind of like, I think there's the divergence between spirituality and in the way and mystic, because I think that there's a massive crossover between the two of them, and there's perceptions on those labels, whereas it's kind of those that are in the self-improvement field, as I think that they're self-improvement and spirituality are slightly different things. But if you're looking at spiritual self-improvement, that usually it's the ego's perception of what what they'll do is that egoic control mechanisms that wants to control what it receives or what flows through it is often what I think the problem is. I believe that in order for me to live life to the fullest, I must receive this. When in fact, your natural sort of God-given born passions that you feel connect you to the state of feeling alive and connected and at one. It's to me, I feel like that's the natural flow. So I also feel like, in essence, and I had this conversation with Monk about, because you can have the state where you feel deeply at one and you kind of like in love, but we are also born, we're not all born to simply sit and feel this blissful love, like that just sit in ecstasy feeling love all the time. We are here to feel, and when you get full up of love and passion, you want to move. It makes you want to give something and radiate.
Yeah.
And so to some degree, the embodied state of love turns into something that you naturally want to give. I believe so. There's that kind of embodied love state, but and that's what I think. If you're loving, to me, everyone's got their own unique way of feeling the love of the universe, and what they love naturally flows through them to want to give. And I have a governing belief that I think if we truly follow that which makes us feel excitedly alive, and it's coming from love, and we're not doing it to try to compensate for any kind of flaws, this, that, and the other, that we will naturally enter into a state that naturally gives to humanity and the universe. But there is definitely that state of releasing ourselves from the ego's control over what we think we need in order to feel fulfilled, and allowing ourselves to let that state of fulfillment flow through us through simply feeling love in the first place.
Beautiful. Anybody else? Maria, I feel like you want to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, it's all beautiful. I think the thing that came to me was like, does it have to be one or the other? And I think that's kind of maybe ties into what Adam was saying. It's just like this fluid line between spiritual and mystical, and maybe you kind of flow between based on just where you're at or what you're receiving or giving. And like you don't necessarily, there's no benefit in labeling one over the other, but just kind of being in whatever state that you're meant to be in any given moment, and allowing yourself to kind of flow between the two.
I don't know if you were talking, Ali, or not. No, I thought you were talking. Your mic was off. I wasn't
No,
sure.
no, I wasn't talking.
Yeah, I think. I mean, definitions aside from what you mentioned there, the constant quest for self-improvement,
Yeah.
is, and I think this is what the main essence of the point is that the constant quest for self-improvement, it comes from a state of lack or not connected to a sense of love in itself. And so, um, I mean, if we look at the real definitions between the two, if we take away the labels, mystic or spirituality, you have in seek of fulfillment and in receiving, in the feel state of fulfillment, in the connection to truly fulfilled. And so it's whatever labels you want to put on that, stepping more into allowing the fulfilled state to guide you and to guide your actions and to guide your feelings and to resonate with that, is probably what the underlying point of that
Yes.
is.
Yes. Or you could say like merging with love and like loving this being of love within ourselves and looking for love through looking to get love through practices, through whatever spiritual practices you can imagine. The first is not about you, it's about your relationship with the source and how you work with that relationship, how you love the source, and then from loving source, then you also love others and you love your work and your gifts because again, the source is everything, other people, and the gifts is given you is also a way to express that love. So, but the foundation of that is loving the source. Whereas in the second case, it's not about loving source. It's about trying to do certain practices that is about your self improvement and about you achieving certain goals or getting certain manifestations. Like, so in this sort of understanding, there's no need to do any kind of manifestation work. In fact, uh, this person was advising against manifestation, and I always felt a bit weird about manifestation work, and I wasn't sure. And I did now feel quite confident that it was accurate, that all the laws of attraction stuff is good as a philosophy, but there's no need to like kind of do manifestation work. The only real manifestation, I really think, is again merging with the source, merging with the one, loving the one, and then that one manifests the life that is the right life for you, that gives you the most fulfillment. You don't need to figure out what you need to manifest and go down and then try to figure them out because it puts you in a mindset of what can I get from life, you know, rather than what can I give to life.
Yeah. And I think that's I think manifestation is something that occurs quite naturally, but a lot of the time, the reason why all of the self-improvement areas doesn't really work is because we're often trying to manifest something that we've been conditioned to believe that we need when it's not really what we are. And ultimately coming from a state of love is it, and it's one thing that I think Monk said is that connect with that which makes us feel deeply connected and allows us and makes us feel fully alive, and what makes the heart want to dance and play with life. Feel with that, feel around with that state of joy, that state of like a child plays around. It just plays because it loves playing with life. It is the being of raw love and play. It's not in a state of want or lack. It's just, it will find love anywhere. And I think in a pragmatic way, so the only thing that I often try to work with is how can we apply this in a pragmatic way that doesn't necessarily mean like sitting and feeling a state of love that makes us kind of be almost in a constant meditative state. I don't believe that's necessary. It could be interpreted that all we need to do is sit and feel and cry and giggle and laugh all the time, and that's all you want to do. And I don't necessarily feel, I think that would be a warping of the wisdom surrounding this. I think that's like an extremism expression, whereas it feels like it's more of a centering outside of egoic interpretation of what you think. and into like, once we are connected to the feel state of love, allow that to lead our actions and lead our expressions. And like when you see, like, if we, I use the analogy of a child, right? If they're feeling love, they'll find anything around them to enjoy. They'll look around and they'll see the joy of the sand, the joy of this, the joy of that, because they are an embodiment of joy. They see it everywhere, they feel it everywhere. And the actions that coming off of that feel state of joy ripple naturally from them. And they then naturally enjoy the feeling of movement because they're in a state of joy. And then eventually that turns them into a dancer because they love it and they're being it. And they're in that state. They're not trying to do something in order to feel anything. They are just feeling the joy and acting on it and following it, which then naturally spreads love and joy around the world because they are feeling it and acting on it in the moment. And there's no searching for something outside of the self in the act.
Well said. Anybody else? We've got like 4 minutes.
Something just really came to me then, like when we're talking about love, because that's like what it's all about. Maybe we're just going to throw this out there that being spiritual is about finding what true unconditional love is and learning that so you can feel it. Because for me, the only way I received unconditional love as a child was by what I achieved and by how I made other people feel. So by trying to give love to everybody, to the only way I ever received unconditional love is by giving and by measurable things, which obviously keeps us in 3D. So if you don't, if you haven't been brought up with that perception of like that just true centered whole heart, it doesn't matter like exactly where you are or what you're doing. Like you can't feel that love. So that's been a massive part of my journey doing the soul repair stuff that I've done is just like, oh, I've just kept everybody else happy. That's what I thought love was all about. Yeah. Like, so I haven't, so, um, maybe that what you're talking about is that journey of doing that is our spiritual journey to find that inner love, and then we become a mystic.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I think that's perfectly aligned in the way that the unraveling of the conditioned state back to, and I think that's what spiritual journey is. In essence, we could weave it together. The spiritual journey is the unraveling back to the mystic state. Perhaps that would be an interesting way to weave them together. Because that society tends to weave us into the main mind trap I mentioned before. I'll feel happy when that, and that's what it's. I'll feel happy when you feel the blank, whatever that is to you. That is the mind trap that most society gets us into. And
Yeah,
so,
when you're happy, I'll be happy when you're happy.
yeah,
Does that mean that I'm a good person and so I
yeah,
must be loved because I've made you happy?
yeah, it's always externalized. It's conditional. Whereas I'll feel happy now because I connect to love. I am love. I'm connected to love. I can connect to it always. It's not something that I need to achieve, something that's attainable, external, outside. And it's one of the things I think monks mentioned a couple of times. The mind, he calls it the mind trap. He said that the conditioned state that we all believe, and it's very much conditioned by commercialism and all those kind of things, and this externalization that exists in modern life, that you attain things and you're trying to regain the love of the universe through external things, and that often comes in from birth. That when we're separated, we've got the mother's love being given to us at all times, and at a certain point, the mother or father doesn't give us the love, and there's a conditioned response to, usually when you cry and you get the love, now you know how to walk, and you don't need to get that love until you do this, and there begins to be a journey of conditional relationship that begins in youth. And that starts the journey of a kind of conditioned relationship. And usually in early years, there is this conditioned societal feeling of we need to do something to attain. And yeah, the unraveling of that back to the mystic state of oneness is a beautiful journey.